Hey guys, it's Andrea. Welcome back to Fruitful Gardening. Today I am out here getting prepped for the fall garden, and so I've got my these go over the bed, and then I put this netting over it when I first plant stuff for fall, because usually there's a lot of bugs out that like to get the fall crops like the brassicas and things. Yesterday my family helped me come out here and clear out these beds, and so I pulled everything out of them, and then I fertilized them with some bone meal and blood meal, and I got that watered in real well. And so I'm gonna make these today because tomorrow is the day that we're planting fall crops. And you might think it's a little early for planting fall crops, but what you do is you look at your first frost date and then you count backwards from that for the days to maturity of your crops. So anything that you would want to plant for fall. Sometimes you could do a tomato crop for a fall garden, plant tomatoes right now in July, but I don't usually do that. I stick with things that grow good in cooler weather. So I'm going to start putting this together, and hopefully all the parts are there. So this is what it looks like once I get the first, and then I'll take it and bend it and put it in the ground. And then there's a pole that goes through the top. And I bought these on Amazon, and so I try to spread these out as much as I can so that I can get more space with this on it. And I'm probably not going to have enough for all these beds, but I'm going to see what I can do. Okay, I think I got all of the curved pieces. I looked for ones that the poles were kind of curved a little bit, and then these go across the top, which it doesn't seem like there's a lot of those. So let's put this bed together and see what happens. I'm not looking for it to be very high because I will take the netting off when everything gets tall enough. So this is pretty much what it's supposed to look like. I didn't space these exactly correct because I'm trying to get as many beds out of this as I can. And I could probably take out one of these and move that to the middle, so maybe that's what I'll do. So there we go. We got 3 hoops and a pole going across, which really for some of these I probably won't even put that pole across because I'm just looking to drape the netting over until they're big enough where the bugs aren't going to bother them. So let's go in the garden and see how many more beds I can do. So I'm in the garden now, and I'm going to see if I can't get hoops on these 3 beds right here. Okay, I'm gonna show you what these three look like. So there's one bed. Here's one bed. I only need to cover it to here where the time starts, so that'll be fine. And then this one, what I'll do is when I put the net on, I will drape it out here to the cinder block and it should be fine. So now I'm gonna work on that back bed. I don't have any more poles to use back there on the top, but I think it'll be okay if I just put the hoops, and I can either find some sticks to tie on there, or if I just drape it, hopefully that'll work. That last bed over there, I got 4 hoops. So each bed for the fall garden has hoops, which is good. I just want to protect them as they're a seedling and as they're growing so that no bugs get to them or anything like that. And so we're going to be back out here tomorrow planting seeds. But today I do need to check the cucumbers and see if there's anything to harvest. These are Better Boy tomatoes. They got a pretty good bit of tomatoes on them. But this is the cucumbers. And so I just move leaves around. And check and see if there's any that are ready. Like, I won't take this one. I'll let him get a little bigger. But I will take that one. And I think there's a couple in the back. There's another one. I'm going to pull this one because he has some improper fertilization going on there. That's a good one. This is a funny one. He's got a little shake to him. There's one back there, but I'm gonna let that one grow. Oh, I see a couple of big ones over there. Those are nice looking cucumbers. Oh boy, looks like I missed one here. Oh my gosh, that's a monster. This guy's really big. It's another day and we are back out here in the garden. I'm about to seed out these beds for fall crops. So I'm just going to show you what I'm planting because it's going to take me a while to get all of these planted because I need to make lines and things like that. But I grew this cabbage last year. It's a great cabbage. It did good here. First time with success on cabbage. And so it's early Jersey Wakefield. I'm also gonna plant this one. I grew this one last year. I don't know how to say that, but it's a purple cabbage. It was very delicious. This is a new one that I'm gonna plant. Purple cauliflower. It's Purple of Sicily. And then I planted this one last year, which is the twister cauliflower. And I planted it too late. It had just started to head and we got a really big frost and it killed it. So I'm planting earlier this year, 2 weeks earlier, because on these seed packets, your days to maturity, this is orange Swiss chard, but it has your days to maturity. That doesn't actually count your sprouting time. So the days to germinate is actually 7 to 14 days. So you add that to the 45 days and that's your actual days to maturity. You have to add those two together. And for a long time, I did not realize that. There was just a hummingbird over there. It's on the zinnia flowers. Maybe I can get it. So for a long time, I didn't know that you had to add those two together. And last year, I think that's kind of where I messed up, because last year I planted about 2 weeks later than the date right now. Today is July 18th. So I learned my lesson because the cauliflower was definitely not ready. And there was other things that could have gone a little longer had it not frost really bad. Like the broccoli, I did get some broccoli, but it wasn't where it could be. It could have gotten bigger, so that's why I'm gonna do that this year. And then I'm gonna plant 2 kinds of kale. One is, I call it dinosaur, but it's actually lacinato kale. So I'm gonna plant that one. This is actually my favorite variety of kale. And then I'm gonna plant this one. This is the Russian red, and this does not survive frost like the dinosaur does. This will survive all winter. And frost, sometimes it'll hurt it, but it doesn't hurt all the leaves. On this red Russian, frost does hurt the leaves. The leaves are a lot thinner, and so frost hurts the leaves on those. And then I'm gonna plant this Marvel of Four Seasons lettuce. I've never planted that one. I'm gonna try this. I don't even know how to say it. Mizuna. I'm gonna plant that and see what it tastes like. I'm also gonna do some oak leaf lettuce. And a lot of these, it might still be too hot, but what I'll do is I'll just harvest the outside leaves, and then as it gets cooler, hopefully I can let it head up a little bit. And then I've grown this before, this Chinese pink celery, but I planted it in the spring and it did not do good. So I'm gonna see if I plant it for fall, maybe I can get some celery. And then I've just got another lettuce here, some tango leaf lettuce. Of course, cilantro. You want to plant cilantro for a fall garden. I already have some in the other garden that I planted probably 3 weeks ago. And it's doing good because I kind of put it in a shady spot so that it won't bolt so fast. And then I really like this carrot. This is the Danvers carrot, Danvers 126. And they're really good carrots and they do good here. So I'm gonna plant those all over these beds. I wanted to put in a couple more nasturtium. And then I've got 2 kinds of broccoli here that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try this Calabrese broccoli. It says it produces a lot of side shoots once the main head is harvested. So I'm hoping I can get that off of that one. And then I'm gonna do this Waltham 29 broccoli, which I grew this last year and the heads didn't get too big because, again, I had planted later than I should have. And I've got some more lettuces. And then this, I'm gonna plant this Lincoln pea. It's 80 to 90 days to maturity, and it has a 10 days to germinate. So that's 100 days. I've got a couple of other peas in the house, some snow peas and things, and I'm gonna wait another month before I plant those because they don't need that long. Their days to harvest is only like 50 days. So I'm excited to try this. I can't do peas in the spring. They've never done good for me. I've tried numerous times. So this year I'm gonna try fall. And I've got one last kind of summer thing. I grew these last year and they are amazing. They are the zucchini rampicante squash. And they produce like crazy. You can pick them when they're green and eat them like a zucchini. And you can also leave them on the vine until they turn like a light orange color and they harden. And you could keep them as a winter squash, which is what I did. And I make all kinds of, I made pie with it. I made all kinds of breads and used it like a squash, like a pumpkin kind of. So it's 70 days to maturity. So, and the squash bugs did not kill this last year. This was the only squash I had that survived all summer. So I waited to plant it this year till fall, and I'm gonna see if it can survive. And I'm gonna put it along the fence, maybe somewhere along the fence where it can climb the fence. And hopefully we can get some more zucchini type stuff and then some pumpkin type squash. I also drew out a little map to kind of tell me where I want to plant stuff. I've got 5 beds that need to be planted. And so I just give myself kind of like an outline because I don't put tags in the garden on stuff that I grow. So I try to separate things that are the same, like the broccolis. Like I want to be able to look at this and know which one is which and where I planted it. So I've got my map, I've got my seeds, I'm gonna get to planting. So I just finished. I got all the seeds planted. I got 3 of the beds covered with netting, but I still have to collect some rocks or something to put around it to keep it down. And then I ordered 2 more nets on Amazon. It's like garden mesh netting, and that should be here next week. So hopefully everything will be okay. I gotta water everything in, and then I'm gonna keep this wet for a while until the seeds start coming up. So if you haven't thought about planting a fall garden yet, I really encourage you to think about it and start planting it. You've still got time in most places. I'm in the South, but in most places you still have time for a fall garden. And a lot of things, like there's shorter versions of peas and lettuces, and actually the early Jersey Wakefield is a semi-early cabbage variety, so it has a little bit shorter of a season. The head doesn't get as big. I think they're usually 2 to 3 pound heads, so there's lots of things. And carrots. When I planted my carrots last year, I did not harvest them. I planted them in, I think, August, and then I didn't harvest them until December. And carrots are something, same as beets, that really can grow in cold weather. So the frost doesn't really mess with them, and even if it gets some of their leaves, it's not a big deal. Their root will still be growing. Unless you're in a very, very cold climate where the ground freezes really fast, then that might be difficult. But most people have time to still plant stuff, and you just have to look at the days to maturity and remember the germination time, because that can that changes your days to maturity when you're starting from a seed. I am so excited about this fall garden. I love fall gardens and being able to still have things growing in October and November and even December. My first frost date is November 15th, so I'm pretty sure I gave these enough time to get to maturity, mostly before the frost. And there's a couple of things I didn't plant, like I said, that I'm gonna wait. I am gonna plant spinach, and I am waiting for that because it's still so hot. So thanks guys for coming out in the garden with me and seeing what I'm planting for my fall garden. My summer garden is still going. I haven't got any tomatoes yet. I got one tomato, but it was really small. So I haven't had any big harvests of tomatoes or peppers yet, but they're growing, and we're just gonna keep going and wait for those harvests to come in. And now we've got more harvests lined up for after the summer garden will be done in the fall. I thank y'all for watching, and I'll talk to y'all on the next one.